All right, everyone. Here's a quick review over some of the tax questions that were missed a lot last week. And I'll start going over several of them for you guys. So I hope you watch this and kind of get something out of it because these are easy questions. You should be slam dunking, but you guys aren't. And they're going to come back to you. And I want to make sure we know them well before we can move on. So let's go ahead and look at this graph from our practice problems. What we have here is S1 and then ST with the tax. So it's asking questions like this. It's saying a tax imposed on a good is equal to, oh my gosh, there's no numbers. How could I possibly calculate it? Remember, I always said it's the vertical height. So going from here to here is the correct answer. Going from here to here, or from like P5 to P4.5 or 3.5. But none of those are answers. But look for a way to measure the vertical nature between S and the tax. Where is there something measuring that height between those two lines? In fact, it's quantity one. Quantity one goes from here on S1 and here on S2, which means it goes from right here. Did they even give you like a, oh, that's P3. And if we go here, that would be P1. So that is your tax. The distance from P1 to P3 to Q1, that's your tax revenue. And boxes C and F would be your deadweight loss. Does that make sense to you guys so far? All right. Another similar question that was missed a lot was one just like this. It would say, if we put a tax on this good, like a $10 tax, this is a really good question. What's a deadweight loss? And everyone should know it's C and E. What's the tax revenue? What B and D? What is the area of B and D? No, what is the area of B and D? What is the tax revenue? Right. We would go ahead and say it's from 40 to 50. Is that $10? That's a $10 tax because we go right here and we know that from this point right here at a quantity of 100 and this point right, so which is $40 and 100 and the intersection of $50 and 100, which are 10 off, that's $10. So it's, here's your $10 tax, 100 quantity, $1,000 of tax revenue. Easy enough. For the deadweight loss, we have C and E. We would just go 10 times 100 and then half it. So it'd be 500 as a deadweight loss. You guys see how that one works? Hey, there's no tax curve. You just got to find a way to go up and then find the same angle. So we could, in theory, go from 45 to this intersection and draw a new supply curve, which would show our tax. That means this is our quantity, this is our market price, this is the price producers get. We can draw that thing right out. All right. For example, on this one, it says the excise tax is how much? For this one, 36. All right, you have S1 to S2. S2 is our S tax. So we go vertically. You can't measure from the base right here on the Y, but you can right here. So it's $2.50 to $4. That's a $1.50 tax. How much of that tax burden is placed on consumers? Remember, the consumer surplus would go from S1, this intersection, right here, to here, to the equilibrium price, the original one at $3. So see this box right here? How tall is that box? $1. What is the tax burden on producers? It would be, okay, we go back down here, and it would be this box. That's the amount of consumer surplus loss. How much is that? 50 cents. You can multiply by 1,500 to get the tax revenue if you want it. But that's how you figure out how much of a tax incidence each one had. Who had a larger tax incidence? Consumers, because they paid $1 of the tax, whereas producers paid 50 cents. Yep. One's similar to this or very similar to this. Ooh, yachts. I love yachts. Hey, we put a $30,000 tax on yachts. So here's the thing. Well, that's not what I wanted to do, or that. So we put a tax on yachts. What is our equilibrium price? It's right here at 1,200. So a healthy market, this is our price. But if I put a $30,000 tax on yachts, we know who's going to pay the tax. Yeah, this says collected from producers, but who's going to bear the burden? And the producers, both. Remember that? So we need to go ahead and say, hey, where is there a $30,000 gap? And a little hint is find a measuring tool. Could I just go from 80 and go here from 1,000 and make sure that I'm going up one box each time? I could. That's not very accurate. So I'd have to go from 80 to 110, and then I'd have to kind of guess. But check this out. If it's a $30,000 tax, I'm guessing our height needs to be from about, oh, what you can do, remember when we talk about tax burden? This is why this one's tricky, but simple. Who bears a larger tax burden? Who bears a larger tax burden? Always the rule. You guys forgot this already.
Whichever one curve is more inelastic.
Catherine, winner, winner, chicken dinner. Whoever's most inelastic. Which curve is more inelastic, the demand curve or the supply curve? The supply curve goes up one box per width. So it's a slope of 1. The demand curve goes down 2 boxes every time it goes over. Who's going to bear a larger tax burden? Consumers. How much more? 2 to 1. So it's a $30,000 tax. Consumers bear how much of the burden? Yeah. It's 30. They bear 2 to 1. So 20,000 to 10,000 for producers. That makes sense to you guys? So you just look at that rise over run. Demand is way steeper. That means they're more inelastic, and therefore they'll bear more of the tax burden at a 2 to 1 ratio. So see, down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1. This is over 1, up 1, over 1, up 1. Does that make sense to you guys? So even though the 10,000 and the, or this be 40,000 aren't marked there, and you can't measure a vertical height, is it giving you the slope? And therefore it's giving you the tax burden. I think that one was pretty easy. And you kind of seeing this one again. This is that tax burden. Remember, it's 50 cents and $1. And you can calculate all those dead weight loss. Does that help you guys a bunch? All right. I hope that helps. And you guys will be seeing this stuff tomorrow.